this input you've just given. My question is, let me first also deal with this conspiracy theory issue. I'm thinking of 2007, just before Polokwane. Professor Gumede published the book Thabo Mbeki and the Soul of the ANC, and it became a talking point. And now we're grappling with the issue of the government of national unity. And here's a book, Who Killed Chris Hani? At the time when the SACP is so vocal about was raising very anti-GNU sentiments. And the whole point is that the narrative that we have been given as a country has always been political. It has never touched base on the issue of the corporate dimension, as we are bringing with this book, and applaud you for that. It's quite courageous. So how are you going to deal with these conspiracy theories, where they are going to exploit it? They're going to say that Judge Nicholson is the same judge who released Jacob Zuma, and now MK Party is against government of national unity. Judge Nicholson is releasing a book who says, Who Killed Chris Hani? And the corporate dimension is also pushing the GNU sentiments. So the timing of it, I think, is going to play out with these conspiracy theories. So I just want to know how you're going to deal with that. That's the first dimension. The second one is, I've always had a question. If I were Janus, partaking in the killing of Chris Hani, I would have exploited the political narrative. If the political narrative was to say that they killed Chris Hani on the basis that they wanted to destabilize the country, I would have applied for amnesty and mentioned certain names from the ANC to say it was this and this and this and this, it was this one and this one and this one, so as to further destabilize the ANC. But he didn't do that for almost 20 years. And I always ask myself, why would he keep quiet if the ANC was involved? If there were these political dimensions or upheavals that were taking place that we do not know of, as you have mentioned that maybe the ANC was involved, the security trust of the ANC was involved, they were the ones who removed the securities from protecting Chris Hani. Surely Janus Walus would have exploited that to say that I'm applying for amnesty. We were not alone with Clive David Lewis. It was actually the commander of the MK. That would have further destabilized the ANC, but they didn't do that. So perhaps did you ponder on that? Thank you very much.
Gosh, you're asking very difficult questions tonight. You know? For years as a judge, I've been facing accused and witnesses facing difficult questions. I've never had to answer them myself. But I think the nub of your question is, what if it's suggested that the Communist Party and Mkhonto Wesizwe paid me a lot of money to write this book so that it would undermine the GNU? I wish they had. I wish they had. But can I assure you, taking the oath, that there was no influence. I did this all on my own, you know, and I did it for the purest of reasons that I've tried to indicate, because I believe the truth is important. Your second question is also fascinating. Why did Janusz Walusz not just tell the TRC, listen, what I've been telling you tonight? Now let me tell you a fascinating detail. Okay, he committed the murder on the 10th of April. On the 14th of April, he was interrogated in his cells by sinister figures from the security police. He was interrogated from 7 in the evening till 6 the next day. And he was told he must stick to the narrative that it was him and Clive Derby Lewis that were involved. And there must be no mention of SIMAR, South African Institute of Maritime Research, or Tini Groenewald, who was heading it at the time. So why did he agree not to mention Simon or the figures I've mentioned to you? He was told that his life would not be worth a plate nickel if he incriminated anybody else apart from himself and Clive Derby Lewis. So my theory is that he didn't incriminate others because he would have been killed the next day. And to me, it's almost a plausible reason why he didn't rat on the others. Because life is pretty cheap in this country. You may realize it is very cheap, and he might well have, who knows, been shot escaping from jail. You know in our history how many people have died in detention, slipped on a bar of soap, who knows.
But we do also have to ask the question of what the TRC's role actually was. And being a family that went to the TRC, asking for someone to come forward with amnesty, and no one did. And I think all the findings of the TRC that were written out, and none of them were actually taken further, it did start to beg the question, what was the TRC actually for and what was it actually about? So in terms of our country's independence, I am incredibly happy that it was a peaceful transition. But it does beg a question how that transition actually happened to be so peaceful when so much oppression actually did happen. And that a lot of people, not just people who lost family members, but other people are still deeply angry and deeply bitter. So my work in the township hasn't been easy. It's a very difficult place to work because people are angry, people are frustrated, and life should not be like this anymore. Why has nothing changed? We have to ask those questions. And that also begs to ask, what was the TRC for? So the fact that he didn't say those things and cause more destabilization of the country is exactly why. And that's